All right, so week 2 of Web Design 2. We're going to take what we did last week, completely basically redo it in a way, and make it responsive, because currently it was fixed width. So you'll see there'll be lab materials. Just go ahead, it'll be a zip folder, just download it, unzip it, and then it will just basically be where we left off. So you can see, if I double click on this in a successful way, you'll see here it is, and it looks like this, right? But you can see it's fixed width, it's cut off right here. I'm just going to go ahead and minimize that. The other thing that's going to be inside of this that was different from last time is that I added these 2 pictures in order to do some of the stuff we're going to do. If you've watched if there's any videos posted before this, you would have seen what we're going to do, but we're going to basically, this is going to be the background image, and this is going to be the small version of this, okay? So that's what we're doing. All right. And actually, let's go ahead and change the name of this to, I will already have this name changed, logo large. Okay, so this is cone logo large and cone logo small. That's how that's going to work. All right. Good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we need to open this up in Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going to type in Visual Studio Code, open that up, and it's going to open up over here. And it's going to take longer than it should. Let's go ahead and close that out. I don't need you either. And I'm going to drop it like it's hot. Boom. Okay. Now, we already have all this formatting here that's doing this business in here. I could probably get rid of a lot of that. For now, I'm just going to leave it and maybe work around. Well, actually, we do have to leave some of it. We do have to take some of it out. So let's just go ahead and let's take out the content and the paragraph section, because what that's currently doing is it's determining with it's making it so it's 2 things stacked next to each other because we have them floating. But I'm actually going to use code to we're gonna make columns and rows, so we don't need that anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove these divs here. Okay, so I'm just going to remove all of the divs that's breaking this up into sections. So now I just have this H1 in a figure, and I'm going to go ahead, let's make this big so you can see it, Control plus, and we're going to go View, and I'm going to do Toggle Word Wrap, and I'm just going to go ahead and take these 2 here and do Shift Tab, that will tab them in. Let's get rid of this 2, and this, oops, and this one too. Okay. And Shift Tab. Okay, good. So now everything is, oops, got to line up more than that too. So let's do this again, all the way down, and Shift Tab. Okay. So now we have this H1, we have this figure, we have this, right? Sounds great. Good. Okay. So we have this little thing about cone, blah, 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 blah. I got this image attached, yada, 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 right? So it's going to be kind of generic, such as it was before, and actually let's just take all this out so I'm not dealing with any of it. Yay! Okay, so we're going to start la creme fraiche. So I still have the content in here, but now we're going to basically try to make this bit in rows and columns to make it responsive, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so let's save this first, even though it's not that great. Okay, so what I need to do is I want to make my own style sheet that's going to basically, if you remember before, we did Bootstrap and DI1, right? And that was a responsive framework, right? That you would link to your site. It was one CSS file, and I think it was 2 JavaScript files, okay? We're only going to do CSS this time, but it'll be semi-advanced CSS. But we're going to link it to this as well, all right? So we're going to make a new file that's going to basically contain my CSS things, okay? So, hang on a second. I'm just trying to make sure I get all my steps in a row here. All right. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and make we'll put it in here. we'll make a new CSS sheet first. So we're just going to do File, New File. It's going to make a blanker, okay? And let's just go ahead and save it. Control-Shift-S, or File Save As, or Command-Shift-S if you're on a Mac. So let's go Desktop, and let me just see something real quick. What's this one called? Okay, it is called About Column. Just want to make sure that I'm saving it to the right spot. So Control-Shift-S, and this is About Column, and you'll see we have this Images folder, and then there's also my HTML here. Let's just go ahead and make a new folder, and I'm just going to call this one CSS. Open that up, and we're going to call this styles.css, like so, and it's saved. All right, so what I'm going to do generically is just make rows and columns, and basically go from there. Okay, so, all right, so what we need to do is this. I'm going to need to make it so that if I say if this is one column, it's a certain width, okay? And if you've ever used any of these before, you'll see that the most generic, basic rule that everyone does is 1/12, okay? So if we were to take 100 divided by 12, right, CALC, open up calculator. Oh, went below me. Okay, if I do 100 divided by 12, we end up with 8.333. So that means every column is going to be 8 1/3. That's how big each column should be in order to equal 12 all the way across. That's how we're ending up with that. So the first one's basically going to be 8.33. The next one's going to be 16.66, and then 33 point. Or I'm sorry, that's going to be 25. Then 33.33, so on and so forth. Okay, we're going to add basically this to each one. And that's how we're going to make it. Okay, so we have to make classes that we're going to set up for each column. So what you do is you're going to go .col-1. Okay, so we're saying if on an element we make it column 1, this is the size I want it to be. So we're just going to go like this, and then you just say I want the width of it to be, and it's going to be 8.33%. Where's percent? There you go. Boom, and then semicolon. And then the other thing we need to add to this is float left. So the reason we need to float left is basically it means that when the stuff is squished, they'll stack or they'll come up. It allows them to float, like they're just boxes that'll float around. It makes it a little bit easier to work with. And just to make this easier, I'm going to put that there. Okay. Now the rest of them are basically all the same. We just go all the way down. So I'm just going to take this, Control-C, and backspace, Control-V. Shift-Tab. So this one is going to be 16.66, right? Because I just take the 8.33 on top of itself, and oh, sorry, make sure this is column 2. Then the next one, backspace, Control-V. Select it. I'm going to Shift-Tab to back it up one. This will be number 3. 3. This is going to be, if I add another 0.33 to this, it's 25%, because it's basically, if we're doing 12, 3 out of 12 is 25, right? So this will be 25%, okay? Just like that, I'm just going to copy all these, Control-C, Control-V, Shift-Tab, and then this, this will be 4, 5, 6, like so, and they are going to be 33, 41, and 50. 33, 41, and 50, right? Yep, just like that, okay? Now I'm going to take all these, Control-C, probably see a pattern forming here. All right, we need to get to the rest of them. Control-V, select all from here. Shift-Tab to yank it over. Then we're going to do 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we start at 50% plus this, so that would be 58.3. This will be 66. We just had to add 50 to it, right? This will be 75. 83, 91, and then 100. 100, right? Just like that. Okay. So, and there's one other thing I need to do. So what we're doing is we're doing columns, but we're also doing rows. So these will be all my columns, right? We're only setting up for one column right now. What this will do is it won't be responsive. We're just setting up so we can have columns. We'll go one level above this in order to go a little bit farther. But we want to have a row, and then each row have a certain number of columns. So we also have to set up our rows. So to do the rows, we're going to go ahead and do dot row, okay, boom, boom, after, and it's going to be that. Okay, so dot row is the class name that we made. So basically, whenever we're going to put the columns inside of a set of rows, right? And then what we're doing is that we're saying, okay, that column, and then after. So you can do before or after. It's a pseudo class. And basically what it means, or is it a pseudo element? I can't remember. It's one or the other. But basically what it means is that you can add something after an element. So what we're going to do is we're going to say after it's a row, we're going to clear everything out. We're going to say start on the new line. That's basically what we're doing. So we're saying after there's a row, go to the next thing down. So that's what we're going to put in here. But that's why it's the 2 colons and then after. That's the idea behind it. Because it's possible to, like, I could do like a P here and then do after, and then I could say like make a shape, and then after every paragraph there'd be a little shape at the end of it. Okay, so that's what that is. But in this case, we're going to use it to actually clear it out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure the content. So if for some reason something's left over, we're just going to go ahead and make that just clear it out. So if there's any extra content there, just get rid of it. It's kind of a catch-all. We're going to do clear, and we're going to say both. This is the thing that actually makes it start on a new line. And then we're just going to do display table. And that's just going to make sure that it works properly. Okay. And I'm just going to hit delete, and then we need one other thing, and that is this. We're going to do an asterisk. Where's the asterisk? Saw you. There you go. Asterisk, and then this. So if you remember, an asterisk, I think it's the same in most codes, but asterisk basically inside of here means everything. Every single element. Like every element that is in the entire thing, everywhere, in the entire document, it's a catch-all. So we're going to apply this to everything, and we're just going to say box dash sizing, not shadow, God bless you, sizing, and we're going to say border box. And what this is going to do is, when it does put these columns here, so these ones up here, you might have a column and you have a border box, a border on it. Well, if let's say I make the width 5, let's say I make it, we'll just start with the first one. Let's say I make it this, right? Well, if it's this and it has a border, it's actually going to be larger than 8 point. It's going to go past that thing. Border box right here, make sure that it fits inside it. So when it does the scaling, it makes sure that it accounts for it, so that your sizes don't get off. Okay. Good. So then we'll save that, and then I actually need to attach it here, because currently it is not attached. So we are just going to go up top here, and we'll just put it in right after title, and we're just going to do link. Oops. Gotta put that in the thing here. Link, right? And the thing, we have to say where we're going to link, and we're going to link from the CSS, and it's going to be the styles.css. That's that sheet that we just made right here, and it's in our CSS folder, styles, right? And the type of file that it is going to be a text that is CSS, and the relationship, what it's going to be doing is that it is a style, if I can spell, a style sheet. Style sheet. Okay? And this is just an open element because we're just linking something to it. Yay! Alright. That should work for the most part. I'm just going to save this real quick. But let's just go ahead and try it out real quick. So we have this about cone, look upon my majesty, yada, yada, yada. And then we have these two things. So I want these to both be one column, right? And to go across all the way. So we're going to go ahead and do this as one. We'll do this as a row, and then this one as a row. Okay? So after this, I'm going to go ahead and do a div class. And we're going to do a row. Okay? And I'm just going to control X. Control V, tab that in, okay, and grab all this business here and tab that in. So now these are in a row, but they're, so I think it'd be better if we actually had the picture and then the cone. So I'm going to do, oops, let's expand that. I'm going to grab this figure, I'm going to control X, and then do control V. Let's back this up so that way it's the figure and then cone. Grab it, hit Shift Tab so it's back in. Okay, so we're going to make this one column and then we're going to make this a column. Okay, so now I'm going to do another div. Make sure you put inside of a thing. Div class. And then we're going to say, I'm going to say the picture we're going to say is going to take up, let's say 1/3. So I'm going to make it a column 4. Okay. So COL dash, and I don't remember what I named my columns. So COL, okay, so it'd be COL dash 4. COL dash 4. Okay. I'm going to click and drag over this, then middle mouse button, and just let go there. And I'll just tab that. Okay, so this is inside of this column. Now, if that one's 4, what does this one need to be? Hopefully you said 8, because remember it's got to equal 12. So we're going to do another div class, and we're going to do COL dash 8, and we're going to put this right there, and I just got to make sure I tab it in, and make sure I tab this guy in as well. Oh, oops, I don't know what happened there. I think I must have said something else. Okay, so basically we have a column 4, so I'll take about 1/3, and this will take 2/3. Okay. Now we have these two paragraphs. I'm thinking they should probably each take 1/2. So basically it's going to be the same thing again. So I'm just going to grab this guy, Control C, Control V, and oh, here we go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and close that div right there. So that's the end of my row. That's good. And then after this, we need to do our 2 columns, right? So we'll do another div class, and it'll be COL dash 6. Good. And I'm just going to grab this and put this guy right here. Tab that in. And then I'm going to grab both of these, tab, and then just this, tab. Okay, so we have this row, and then there's the column, and then these are inside of that column. Alright, now we need to do another one here. So I'm just going to copy this, Control C, Control V, and yeah, that's in the right spot. And then, boom, grab this, and put it here. And these two should tab in, and then, come on, and then this tab, this tab. Okay, so we have a row here. Right? So we have 2 rows. We have the first row, so it's going to go across, and it's going to be a column 4, then a column 8. Then I have my next row, okay, and then it's 6 and 6, so half and half. All right, we'll go ahead and save that, and we will see what it looks like. Control R, it's going to look considerably different. But if you look, you can see it's already working, right? So right at half, you can see these are each taking half. This is taking 1/3, and this is taking 2/3. So it's working perfectly. My images aren't right anymore, so that's not going to work. But as far as the lineup is concerned, that part is actually working well. So that column part is totally doing good. Good. All right. So we now have the basic thing going on there. I'm going to stop this video, and then what I'm going to do is set up the next part, which is going to be to make it responsive. And then after that, we'll hook up some other CSS elements and stuff. Okay?